Hi, this is David Dusek with Golfweek magazine, and welcome to this week's episode of This Week in Gear. After playing one of the best foul weather rounds of golf we've seen in a long time, Brandt Snedeker is your winner at the 2016 Farmers Insurance Open. Here's a list of the golf clubs that Snedeker used at Torrey Pines. For a driver, he had a Bridgestone JGR with 9.5 degrees of loft and a Fujikura Evolution 661 68X shaft. His fairway woods were a Callaway X Hot with 15 degrees of loft and an Aldo Latour Green 75 TX shaft, along with a Tour Stage X fairway with 18 degrees of loft, and that had a Fujikura Pro 83 Tour Spec X shaft. His irons are Bridgestone J15 CBs, cavity backs, with 4-through pitching wedge there with Aerotech steel fiber I-95S shafts. His wedges are Bridgestone J15s, a 52 degree that's been bent to 51, a 56 that's been bent to 55, along with a Titleist Vokey Design TVD K-Grind 60 degree lob wedge. All those have True Temper Dynamic Gold S400 shafts. His putter is an Odyssey White Hot XG Rossi, and his golf ball is a new 2016 version of the Bridgestone Tour B330. TaylorMade Golf debuted the new M2 driver last week on the PGA Tour at Torrey Pines, and they brought it also to the 2016 PGA Merchandise Show. Here are a couple of the features and benefits of the club. It's got a 7-layer carbon composite crown, which really reduces weight, along with a very large and super flexible speed pocket, which is going to be a channel designed into the sole of the golf club, which is meant to allow the face to flex more effectively at impact for greater ball speed. But because TaylorMade went with that carbon composite crown, and it does not have a track system with movable weights like the M1 driver, TaylorMade was able to take a lot of weight and put it in the back of the golf club and very low, which then moving that CG lower and much further back really increases stability according to the company. And in fact, if you took all of the weight and the movable weights from the M1 driver and put them in the back of that club, it still wouldn't give you the moment of inertia and the amount of stability that the M2 driver is able to provide. So for players who are willing to sacrifice a little bit of customization that the M1 provides, TaylorMade hopes that they'll look at the M2 driver and see that as a really good option. And finally, Titleist has officially released the new Vokey Design SM6 wedges. Now these clubs have already won on the PGA Tour. Jordan Spieth has been using them, Jason Dufner has used them, and the thing that's really unique about them is that they have a progressive center of gravity, meaning that Titleist position more mass low on the face, actually behind the face in the hitting area, on the pitching wedges and the gap wedges based on loft, and position more weight and mass up at the top, near the top line, on the lob wedges. By moving the center of gravity up and down based on loft, Titleist is putting more mass directly behind the area where we're going to hit the ball. So the pitching wedges and the gap wedges create a smoother transition coming from your iron set, and by putting more weight up at the top, when you open up the face, you're going to have more mass directly behind the ball when you're hitting with lob wedges. Now sand wedges, it's going to be positioned a little bit more in the middle, and that's going to give you better performance that way. Titleist also makes subtle adjustments with the grooves based on loft, so that the TX4 grooves in the SM6 wedges that are 46 to 54 degrees feature narrower and deeper grooves that have a little bit more iron-like performance. The grooves are shallower but wider in the higher lofted wedges, again to get debris and sand and water out of there when you're hitting shots that are going to be primarily from the rough and in the sand and touch shots around the greens. This is David Dusek. Thanks very much for joining me on This Week in Gear, and I'll look forward to seeing you real soon.